be 15 seconds, so that.
That's fine. Not a problem.
I just said technology back 50 years.
Traveled to Montana. First time I did a tour, I found out.
Well, I thought you went to
Got an explanation why dating in high school was so tough.
All the way across. We started on the North Trail, but dropped down to Wyoming.
That's so cool.
Okay, so good evening, everybody, and on behalf of the Madison Heights City Council, welcome this evening to the council meeting. I would now like to call to order, please. And Ms. Burns, if you would call the roll.
Councilman Bliss,
Here.
Councilman Clark,
Present?
Councilman Corbett,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Hartwell,
Yes, I'm here.
Councilwoman Scott. Here. Councilman Soltis.
Here.
And Mayor Swanson.
Here. The invocation this evening is going to be given by Councilman Bliss. We'd ask that you please rise and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear wise and loving Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together here tonight to discuss how we can continue to grow and enhance our city. I am truly thankful for the opportunity to meet tonight, which was made possible by the countless outstanding leaders that you've sent our city throughout the years. Leaders that led our city through good times and bad, who built the foundation upon we'll be building tonight. In this, our 60th anniversary year, let us be inspired by those people who worked hard to bring our community to this point, and their actions and accomplishments, let them guide us as we make our own decisions. Lord, please also give us the strength, creativity, and courage to live up to the high standards that our former leaders established, and help us to continue their work as good stewards of our city, working to pass down an even stronger foundation to the leaders of our future. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You want to read the first item?
Yes, Your Honor. The first item has to do with the resignation of Mayor Pro Tem Hartwell and declaration of the council seat vacancy. Councilman and Mayor Pro Tem Brian Hartwell has submitted his resignation from council, and when council resignations are submitted, the council is legally obligated to carry out the following procedure. First, the council must vote on the acceptance of the resignation, and that motion also declares the seat vacant. According to Chapter 5, Section 5.5 of the Charter, there are no grounds for rejecting a resignation. Second, the city must vote to receive and file the city clerk's report of the official results of the city general election held on November 5th, 2013. So those two actions would be appropriate for this evening.
This time. Do we have a motion on acceptance of the resignation, please?
Your Honor,
Mr. Corbett?
with regret, I move to the council accept the resignation of the Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr.
I
Soltis?
support.
Discussion?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I-
Please.
I'm not asking any of you to make comments, but I'd like to make some brief, polite comments, just thanking the mayor and council, if I may.
Sure, please.
Your Honor, before the Mayor Pro Tem starts, could I ask the maker in support if that motion also includes declaring the seat vacant?
Yes, that was my intention.
Okay,
Thank you,
yeah.
Your Honor.
I
Thank you, Your Honor. I would just like to read from the letter I submitted to you, Mr. Mayor, where I said, my 8 years on city council, 4 as the mayor pro tem, would not have been as rewarding or enjoyable without the commitment to service demonstrated by my council colleagues. The city of Madison Heights is a better place to live thanks to the creativity and passion of Mayor Ed Swanson and the City Council of Madison Heights. I also note the remarkable positivity of the residents of our city, especially as we survived the painful moments of the Great Recession, and then just last year where we survived the Great Flood in August. I also look back at those occasional triumphs when we chose to share the praise. For example, when we won the SAFER grant and were able to hire back 3 firefighters, or when we saved the Nature Center by teaming up with Oakland County, or other events, how we cleaned up the illegal dumping at the incinerator, how over several years we reduced our carbon footprint by 25%, and also becoming the third most walkable city in Michigan. Your Honor, you opened the Wellness Center, which was a collaboration between our city, Ferndale, and Royal Oak. And we formed the 21st Century Technology Committee, thanks to Councilman Bliss and the rest of council. Well, I'd be remiss if I did not celebrate the day-to-day successes of the staff and the dedicated employees who work for Madison Heights and face constant pressure to become more efficient and to deliver ever greater services. Our team of employees in Madison Heights is unquestionably devoted to serving our residents, and I will forever be grateful to the people who trusted me to serve in public office. And I really believe that we made our little corner of the world just a little bit better, Your Honor. So more work is ahead, and I thank you. I ask that you accept my resignation.
Thank you, sir. We have a motion for acceptance by Councilman Corbett, a second by Councilman Soltis. Discussion? Any comments from council? If not, then on the resignation, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? We do have a presentation. Would like to make it this time.
Yes, Your Honor, I can read the certificate.
Please.
This is a certificate of appreciation. Whereas the mayor and city council of the city of Madison Heights wish to express on behalf of the city their appreciation to Brian C. Hartwell in recognition of outstanding service to the community. And whereas Brian has furthered those ideals that contribute to a better community. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and city council, being the duly elected representatives of the people of Madison Heights, express the city's appreciation and recognition to this distinguished citizen for his public service serving on the city council from November 13, 2007 to July 27, 2015. Be it further resolved that a copy of this certificate be presented to Brian C. Hartwell, that it may serve as a lasting expression of the city's gratitude and appreciation of his contribution to the betterment of the city of Madison Heights, Michigan. Signed, Mayor and Council.
Thank you. Brian, if you would, please. Thank you. We do have another presentation here. It is heavy. In honor and appreciation of Brian C. Hartwell for your 8 years of outstanding, dedicated, and inspirational service to the city of Madison Heights. Council, Mayor Pro Tem, Council and Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your services.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Raj. Council. 2 years. Thanks, Brian.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
If I could just comment.
Sure,
And
please.
I don't know if Brian wants to say it or not, but the reason that Brian is resigning his seat is not because he's not interested in the city, but he is going to be running for mayor. And in our city charter, if you are on the council and you want to run for mayor, you must resign your council seat until the election. And you may be elected or we may keep the mayor. That's going to be up to the voters, which is the beautiful thing about everything. But I know that Brian's going to stay very involved in the city in whatever capacity he winds up with. And I thank him for all of his service and his dedication to our city.
Thank you. Anybody else, any comment? If not, then secondly, the city must vote to receive and file a city clerk's report of the official results on the city's general election on November 25th, 2013. Can we have a motion on this, please?
Your Honor?
Mr. Corbett.
Sir, I move that the council receive and file the November 5th, 2013 election results as certified.
Second?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Clark.
second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And you're going to mention the next one?
No, those are the two that we need for tonight.
Okay, that's it, huh? Okay. This is all right. So next item then is approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions? If not, then we'll move on to business licenses. Item A, initial. And the first is American Tire Outlet and Repair, Mechanical Auto Repair Shop at 26001 DeQuinder. And the temporary and seasonal is Hattie's Hallmark Outdoor Sales at 29058 Campbell Road, Both have met the requirements of the city, so what's the wish of council on this request, please?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Clark.
I'd make a motion to approve business license initial number 1, American Tire Outlet and Repair Incorporated. This is a mechanical auto repair shop, and this is a new business to the city. The business license, temporary and seasonal, to Hattie's Hallmark Outdoor Sales at 29058 Campbell Road.
Thank you, sir. We need a second.
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Scott.
second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Business licenses, non-commercial, we have nothing scheduled for this evening. Public hearings, nothing are scheduled. Is there anything on the agenda that anybody in the audience wants brought forward at this time? If not, then let's move to meeting open to the public. Anybody wishing to address council, please feel free to do so, sir. We'll need your name and address before you address council. And we're going to ask
Well,
that you...
actually, I'm going to record.
Excuse me, what'd you say?
I'm going to record now.
Okay, you can
And I've
record.
heard you ask people to give the address.
Right.
And actually, I don't have
What
to
is your
do
name?
that.
What is your name?
Peter Richard Taylor, and I've said that before, and I am a resident of the city as well as citizens
And
of the United
what is your
States.
address?
You're not going to get me on that.
Okay, you know what? Then don't address council.
You're sounding like you're afraid to hear the
Just a
truth.
minute.
And I've told
Our
you
charter
before.
calls that you have to give us your name and address. If you don't want to give us your address, don't address council.
You're afraid of the First Amendment.
Is there anybody else that wants to address council, please?
By chicken lips.
Yes, thank you.
Scaredy cat.
I am pretty tough. Good evening.
Hi, my name's Gloria Moore. I live at 27368 Dartmouth, and I wanted to let you know that Brian Hardwell is one of the good ones when he listens to you and he tries to understand. And also, there was, this last meeting I had, there was a mix-up on the date, so I ended up having 2 meetings, and they were extremely fruitful, and I discovered that the fire station council room is extremely clean and well-kept. You have a good day.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to address council? Item C then, communications, nothing is scheduled for this evening, so let's go to reports, and I think we have 4. The first is number 1, DPS Director, and its agreement and resolution to assign wholesale customer water and service contracts between Detroit Water Sewer and the City of Madison Heights, the Great Lakes Water Authority. So, Mr. Mayor, sir.
Yes, sir. Council is requested to approve the agreement and resolution that assigns wholesale customer water service contract rights between Detroit Water and Sewerage Department, or DWSD, and the City of Madison Heights to the newly formed Great Lakes Water Authority. The City Attorney's Office has reviewed the agreement and the resolution and has no comments or concerns since this contract that we've negotiated with DWSD some years ago will remain in effect under the assignment.
Thank you. Can I have a motion on this, please?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Clark.
I'd make a motion to approve the agreement and resolution to assign wholesale customer water service contract rights between Detroit Water and Sewer Department and the City of Madison Heights to the Great Lakes Water Authority.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Your
Mr.
Honor.
Mayor,
Mrs. Scott.
second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Reports number 2, City Attorney and the Police Chief. This is a renewal of an agreement for the entertainment permit for the Big 5 Entertainment doing business as Augie's Lounge at 31660 John R.
On November 15th, 2002, Big 5 Entertainment Incorporated, doing business as Augie's Lounge at 31660 John R., entered into an agreement for entertainment permit requiring an annual review by City Council. The Vice President of Big 5 Entertainment has indicated his desire to have the agreement continue on the same terms and conditions during the next year. This agreement permits karaoke with prizes as a permitted activity. The Police Department and City Attorney's Office have reviewed the agreement for entertainment permit and have no objection to its continuation in accordance with its terms. Based upon the good working relationship with this establishment and the review of police reports, police contact, and the Liquor Control Commission file, our police chief recommends a 2-year extension for the agreement. If council concurs, the appropriate action would be to continue with the agreement for an additional 2 years, subject to the same terms and conditions, including, but not limited to, the next review, which shall take place on or about August 1, 2017.
Thank you, sir. Motion on this, please?
Your Honor?
Mr. Clerk Corbett.
Sir, I move that the council approve the renewal of the agreement for an entertainment permit for Big Five Entertainment, Inc., doing business as Augie's Lounge on John R., sir.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Your Honor,
For
Mr.
2
Bliss.
Didn't I say, I'm sorry, I meant to say 2 years if I didn't. I'm sorry.
Agreeable. Yeah.
support, agreed.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 3 under reports, the city attorney and police chief. It's a renewal of agreement for entertainment permit at the Madison Heights Red Robin, I think, restaurant at 1805 John R., sir.
Yes, sir. Red Robin, located at 31805 John R., has made its biannual request to renew the existing entertainment agreement. The police department has checked departmental and Liquor Control Commission related records for the past year, and the police chief has found no reason to object to the request to renew the entertainment permit. Also, the city attorney's office has contacted the owner and has confirmed that the agreement would continue without changes. Based upon the good working relationship with this establishment and the review of the police reports, police contacts, and Liquor Control Commission file, staff and I recommend renewal of the entertainment agreement for Red Robin for a period of 2 years until the next review, which will take place on or about August 1, 2017.
Thank you, sir. Motion on this, please?
Your Honor,
Mr. Bliss?
I move that we renew the agreement for an entertainment permit for the Madison Heights Robin, Inc., doing business as Red Robin Restaurant at 31805 John R. for 2 years.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Clark.
second.
Discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Sherman.
just one comment, because I didn't recall hearing the city manager mention what activities are permitted there, but it's magicians, clowns, Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and other types of child-oriented entertainment.
Oh, okay, good. Agreeable, sir?
Absolutely.
Okay, Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Okay.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Who'd be against the Easter Bunny?
What?
Who would be against the Easter Bunny, you know?
I know, it sounded like our family reunion.
That could be a loser, yeah.
Any other comments, questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? E, items for future public hearings on the agenda, we have nothing. Item F, bid awards purchases. Item G, nothing for this evening. So we do need approval of the minutes of the last regular council meeting of July 13th of 2015. And can I have a motion on that, please?
Your Honor?
Mr. Corbett.
Pardon me. I move that the council approve the regular meeting minutes as printed for July 13, 2015.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Your Honor,
Mr. Bliss.
support.
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Unfinished business, nothing we have this evening. Under appointments, we do have, we have 2 here, I think. Cindy Holder for the Planning Commission, a 2-year term, and this is a mayor's appointment. And I'd be more than happy to have her back on this. She's a pretty good gal. And then, can we take 2 at one time? And the zoning board, or have to take them separately?
It's up to council, but are the terms the same, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
They're not.
No, oh, no, they're
So then
not,
I would,
okay.
so I would take them individually.
Okay, well, okay, so you have a motion for Cindy Holder, please.
Your Honor.
Planning. Yes, sir.
I move that the council confirm the mayor's appointment of Cindy Holder to the Planning Commission for a 2-year term expiring August the 10th, 2017.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Scott.
second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? We also have her applicant for city holder for zoning board of appeals, a 3-year term. She's willing to serve.
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Scott?
I would like to nominate Cindy Holder for a term to expire on the Zoning Board of Appeals for a 3-year term, which would be expiring August 10th, 2018.
Thank you. Second?
Your Honor.
Mr. Corbett?
Support.
Discussion?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Your Honor, the term is 2017 that it'll be expiring, Your Honor.
A two-year, a
Oh, is
three-year
it
term, 2018.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2018. My math
2018,
is
yeah,
obviously
you're
not
right,
good.
yeah. That's what you said.
Yeah.
Okay, second by Councilman Corbett. Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? With that, executive session, nothing is scheduled, so let's go into closing comments, and always, with your permission, we'll start, sir, with Councilman Corbett.
Just two quick items this evening, Your Honor. Number one, I wanted to follow up. I had asked staff for a quick update. If you recall, some weeks ago, we started a process of code enforcement, enhanced code enforcement throughout the community in reaction to some concerns raised by citizens. And I know we had had some initial success, but waiting for an update. Mr. Myers, can you provide that, sir?
Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Yes, certainly, Councilman. I do have 2 months' worth of information now, and council and the public will recall that the enhanced enforcement effort was over three typical code enforcement issues that all relate to blight. The first was debris, the second had to do with abandoned, unlicensed, and inoperable vehicles, and the third had to do with weeds or high grass. For the period from May 16th through June 15th, basically our first month, and I would remind the public that that was prior to our new part-time code enforcement officer coming on board, and she started first or second week of July. Our figures for that month were 31 warning violations for debris, 8 for abandoned and unlicensed and inoperable vehicles, and 207 for weeds and high grass, which makes sense during a growing season. We have the second month of data, which covers the period from June 16th to July 15th. And for the same categories, we have 25 for debris, 71 for vehicles, and 110 for weeds and high grass. So our total figures to date are 56 warning violations for debris, 79 for vehicles, and 317 for weeds and high grass, for a total of 452. And I have seen the maps of the areas of enforcement, and I want to give kudos to our code enforcement officers who are doing a good job in getting out there.
I was just going to say, I've noticed that online in a number of areas I've seen comments, positive reactions to having seen code enforcement in the neighborhood, getting after some eyesores that have been neglected for a while. And I'm just real pleased. It's a concerted effort by, I know, several different departments and added personnel. And I know on behalf of myself, as well as I'm sure the residents throughout the community, we're very pleased with the work that's being done on this. So I wanted to just make a comment on the resignation of the Mayor Pro Tem. It wasn't that many years ago, Brian was elected as I recall, the youngest person ever elected to the council, or certainly among the youngest. I can't think of anybody who'd been younger. He was an outstanding contributor, an educated, articulate spokesman for the community and the interests that he pursued, and I think he's a real contribution to his community. Regardless of what happens in the fall, it's a voice that I hope remains active in our city. And I just was going to make just a quick comment. It was a year ago, our next meeting, that we all lost our cars. And everybody else lost their basements and everything else. It's hard to believe that it's been a year already, yeah. I remember driving down the neighborhoods, and I just never thought we'd ever get the debris out of there, let alone in really what was remarkable time, 3-4 weeks. I don't remember, but it was, while some communities were,
Hazel Park was 2 weeks before they started, I think.
Yeah,
They were delayed.
yeah, it was amazing, and Councilman Hartwell mentioned tonight about the storage of garbage there. I remember, we did everything we could to stop it, and I think that the council and the community's efforts certainly shortened the amount of time that we were the dumping ground for Oakland County.
Yeah.
And all it got us, you'd think we'd get a pat on the back from the state, but all it got us was they were threatening to arrest us if we didn't allow them to do it. So while I thought about sharing a cell with you guys, I'm glad we didn't have to, so. I guess that's it this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilman Bliss, sir.
I guess, Your Honor, I'd like to also echo the sentiments of Councilman Corbett towards Mayor Pro Tem Hartwell. It was he was a great help as I came in. I got to share the seat next to him, and when you're brand new on council, it's always helpful to sit next to a couple of folks like Councilman Corbett and Mayor Pro Tem Hartwell, and he'll definitely be missed. Next week or next meeting, we'll get to welcome soon to be, I guess, Councilman Gettings again, and I look forward to sitting next to him as well. A couple other quick things. I'd like to mention that the public forum that the Parks and Rec Board will be hosting on the Halfman project has been postponed into September to find a better date that will allow us to get more time or will allow us more time to publish a survey and mail that to residents to solicit their feedback. So stay tuned for that date. It is not set in stone yet, but it will be in September. I would also like to express my support for Councilman Soltis's Multicultural Relations Advisory Board. Like the Information Technology Committee, ITEC, this board is timely, it's relevant, and I personally believe that it's needed in a city as diverse as ours, having a board that can make recommendations to council, that can be really just an idea generator for things that we can do to engage those facets of our community that might sometimes feel disenfranchised or not a part of things. I think it's going to be an absolute benefit. I commend him for the idea, and Councilman Soltis, you have my absolute support on this project.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sherman.
Mr. Mayor, just one point of clarification for the public. We touched on it, but we didn't really explain it. When a vacancy occurs in the office of council, the charter also requires that it's filled by the council at the next regular meeting after the vacancy occurs from the unsuccessful candidates who was the highest nominated vote getter at the preceding election. So that's why council received and filed the election results from November 5th, 2013, because that sets the table for the appointment of Mr. Gettings, who was the highest nominated vote getter at the last preceding city election. So both of these charter provisions, section 5.1 that requires the resignation of a seated council person who wishes to run for another elective city office such as mayor, combined with section 5.7, which provides the mechanism for filling the vacancy, came out of the people voted these charter amendments in the early 1960s when Bill Huffman, a seated council person, challenged the mayor and won successfully, and then the council couldn't agree on who to fill the seat with the vacated council, Bill Huffman's vacated council seat. So these provisions, as far as the city attorney's office is concerned, have really saved the city tens of thousands of dollars over the last 50 years by providing for a smooth, stable, transparent transition and electoral process, and has been followed and accepted by all members of council for a very long period of time. The only other thing I would add, just of a personal note, relating to my family, I mentioned this to some of the council members. My son last night completed his third 300-mile ride for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, riding from Traverse City down to the Michigan International Speedway, along with maybe 1,500 or 2,000 riders. But at 17 years of age, this is the third year that he's done it, and he's probably one of the youngest riders there. And he handled it with relative ease, despite the very hot conditions up north this weekend. So it was very cool. And at the finish line at the Michigan International Speedway, the Make-A-Wish kids are waiting for the riders to give them a medal and to take pictures with the riders who completed the ride, and it's a very, very special accomplishment. We're very proud of them.
How long did it take?
Took 3 days, 100 miles a day. First leg was Traverse City to Big Rapids. Second leg was Big Rapids to DeWitt, and last leg was DeWitt to MIS in Brooklyn.
Good.
And then it took 4 hours to drive home
Yeah,
from
from
Brooklyn because
there.
they had I-94 was all backed up, but shouldn't complain about the driving. He did all the hard work.
Yeah, good.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor, sir.
I just want to thank Ms. Marsh for covering for me at the last meeting and say to council and the public, it's great to be back. That's all, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Brins?
Yes, thank you. Applications for absentee ballots for the Madison District Public School special election are available at the city clerk's office. The last day to apply for an absentee ballot by mail is Saturday, August 1st. The city clerk's office will be open that day from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. for election business only. The election is Tuesday, August 4th for those residents residing in the Madison Public School District. And the polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. If you have any questions, please feel free to call the city clerk's office. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clark?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Saturday, I received a telephone call from a very good friend of mine, his daughter, that he had just passed away, and that being Michael Brenton, who retired from the city as a sergeant from the police department. I can't remember how many years he lived here, but all three of his daughters graduated from the Lamphere School District. When I arrived there, Officer Robert Backman was there already, and I have never seen anyone as compassionate as he was. He stayed there the full time. In fact, he helped remove Mr. Brenton from the house into the van. But he talked to everyone there, and I could tell that his compassion was real. And I just wish we had not only more policemen like that, but people in general that could be that compassionate. In fact, he's laid out right now at Hopcroft Funeral Home till 9 this evening, and the service tomorrow is at 11 o'clock at the funeral home, and from there we'll proceed to Oakview Cemetery in Royal Oak. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Scott?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I know that our city treasurer, city clerk alluded to the election, and I wanted to make sure that the citizens, remember, this is Madison School District only, so if you're in the Lamphere District, you will not have to be voting, but there is going to be an election on August 4th, and the voters will decide whether to trust the district's ideas and track record or deny its vision. The proposal is for a tax increase that would pay for the construction of a new middle school behind Madison High and work on the high school connecting the two buildings. It's part of a larger plan to create a single campus in the area of 11 Mile Road. The recent construction of Madison Elementary was the first phase of the plan. And if I can beg your indulgence here, I would like to read the wording on the ballot so you won't be surprised when you go and read it in the voting booth. And it reads, shall Madison District Public Schools borrow the sum of not to exceed $16,700,000 for the purpose of erecting, furnishing, and equipping an addition to the existing high school in order to convert it to a secondary building to include both a middle school and a high school, remodeling, furnishing, and refurnishing, and equipping and re-equipping the existing high school, in part for building security and energy conservation improvements, acquiring and installing instructional technologies in school buildings, and preparing, developing, and improving sites. That's the question. And there's a footnote, the estimated millage that will be levied for the proposed bonds in 2015 is 2.62 mils, which is $2.62 on each 1,000 of taxable valuation of your property. The maximum number of years the bond may be outstanding, exclusive of any refunding, is 25 years. The estimated simple average annual millage anticipated to be required to retire this bond is 5.23 mils, or $5.23, on each 1,000 of taxable valuation. So please, I know in the last city election, there are only 10% of people voting. This is going to affect every Madison Heights resident in the Madison district. So please go to the polls or fill out your absentee ballot for August the 4th and get a say-so in how you feel about this issue. You can study more about it. I know this was published in the Madison Park News, and I want to thank Andy Kozlowski for the reporting on the story. Last week, we had the trivia question, and it was, who was the first woman mayor? Actually, and I think I told you that there was only one woman mayor so far. And your choices are A, Marilyn Russell, B, Virginia Solberg, C, Elva Mills, and D, Mary Frances Stamma. And the answer was B, Virginia Solberg. She has been the only woman mayor. And your question for in the next 2 weeks, who was the only person to serve as city manager and council person? There's only been one person to do that. Your choices are A, John Austin, B, Ernest Fisher, C, Bill S. Huffman, or D, Ben Myers. So there's only been one person that has served as our city manager, was a paid position, and council person, which is an elected position in the history of our city. And I hope you'll vote for the right one. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sultan? Oh, yeah.
Mayor, I'm sorry. You can also find the wording of that ballot language on the city's website, as well as the application for an absentee ballot.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Mr. Soltis?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to take a few moments. First, I want to talk about something important in the news today regarding Michigan Earned Income Tax Credit, discussed under the HB 4609. But preface this by saying that I think a certain party in Lansing is not taking working families in consideration when they're drafting legislation. First, just recently, the city control has been taken away on certain policies that could help our communities. Then attempts to eliminate unions, cutting funding for senior programs, sabotaging a real minimum wage increase, discrimination against LGBT equal rights, and now a destruction of one of the good policies that has been successful for numerous years for working families, the Michigan Earned Income Tax Credit. According to an organization, Michigan League of Public Policy, the House GOP Roads Plan eliminates the Michigan Earned Income Tax Credit, effectively raising taxes on almost 781,000 low-income working families, raising about 1 million kids. This plan robs Peter to pay Paul for the second time in 5 years. It will punish thousands of families into poverty. House Republicans are proposing to cut the EITC for the second time in 5 years. This time completely eliminating raising taxes again on almost 800,000 low-income families. This policy has been a proven effective anti-poverty tool that reduces the number of children living in poverty. At its current rate, it lifts about 7,000 working families out of poverty. Secondly, what I think goes hand in hand is children living in poverty. Recently, according to a report from the MLPP, while states have seen improvements in child well-being over the past 5 years, families in Michigan continue to suffer with more children living in poverty now than it has the last full year of the Great Recession. According to a new 2015 Kids Count data book released from the Annie Casey Foundation, which I think everyone should at least take a quick look at. It says here that more than 524,000 Michigan children, 524,000 Michigan children live in poverty, a rate of 1 in 4 compared to 1 in 5 in 2008. I know it's difficult, but in the city of Madison Heights, I would really like to see if we can conduct some type of survey, so we know where we stand in childhood poverty in Madison Heights and see where we stand in the 524,000 children. I think that's a worthwhile project. Third, I want to graciously thank Councilman Bliss for his outspoken support for the new Multicultural Relations Advisory Board in Madison Heights that I talked about last session. It's really taken shape, and you can read about it in this week's C&G newspaper. It was a great article. I'm really excited about this and hope to start getting a huge response. As Councilman Bliss stated, it's a way to come together, I think, to break any barriers that may exist and create a more unified city. So if anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate to call us or call me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll just pretty much echo the sentiments of the council and thank Brian Hartwell for a good job, productive 8 years. He was definitely an asset to the city, did a good job, and we're going to miss him. So.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask one more thing, as a letter of condolence to the Brenton family.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Is there anybody in the audience has any other questions, comments? Council, any questions or comments? Okay, with that then, let's adjourn. Thanks to everybody for being here.